there was a wee message flashed up saying this has been recorded, and I hit okay, so I
Okay,
think
well, hello,
might be
beautiful
rolling.
people. I think I pressed record way before I was supposed to, so you've all gotten a lovely little taste of what we are going to talk about today. But I'm joined here on the Rise of the Rebel Matriarch Leadership Summit by Laura Durban, one of the co-authors in the Rebel Ma Healing in the Time of the Feminine Women's Story of Liberation book. And Laura is a mythopoetic alchemist, initiated Avalon priestess, and sacred leadership mentor who trains professional cacao ceremonialists. As a writer, she publishes in personal and spiritual growth magazines and on Substack to support others in reclaiming their magic. Laura founded her heart-led business, Cacao Zabur. I hope I didn't put that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Cacao Salva. That's German. That's a bit mean, I know.
Yeah. Listen, you've got an Irish girl here trying to read German. It's not
You can say cacao enchantment. That's fine.
Cacao enchantment, perfect. To help restore enchantment in a society of disassociation, bring integrity to sacred leadership, and embody sovereignty through honest and reciprocal connection with self, others, and nature. What a beautiful mission you have. And Laura offers a year-long online Avalon immersion with seasonal ceremonies and portals into the other world to bridge meaning, magic, and purpose into our daily lives. To reclaim your ancestral history and matriarchal lineage, to find the goddesses and teachings you are meant to embody in this lifetime. So juicy, so beautiful, and everybody out there should get in touch with her to see what magic she can bring to your door. And we also have Jenna, Vida, my beautiful sister in Scotland, who is a Scottish woman, heeding the call to ancestral Celtic lands, to commune, to awaken, to dance, and to sing the songlines. And I am very honored to have you both here today on our first day of meeting the maiden energy on our archetypal journey through the phases of the feminine. So the maiden energy to me is just vibrant. She's juicy, she's spontaneous, she's sexy, she's sensual, she's like, she's so pregnant with possibility. She doesn't get bogged down by the heaviness of the world. She has these wings expanded, breath vital in her body, and she is flying through the sky without a worry in the world, just not bothering to worry about anything except having fun, about, really awakening to the joy and the spontaneity in every day. So I'd love to start by, just tapping into what the maiden energy is for you and how you evoke her or how you awaken to her on your daily. We might start with you, Laura.
Oh, right. So just so we make sure that it is recorded, do
Mm-hmm.
you see a little sign on your screen?
I do. I have the recording is already there. It's been
Oh,
there for
brilliant.
ages.
Okay. Because I feel like worst case scenario, we're like after an hour, go like,
I
no.
know that would be bad. No, but I thought because it was just the AI note taker, I thought that maybe it was just recording the notes and that I hadn't
Oh,
pressed save to the cloud. So when I just pressed save to the cloud, it went to the cloud, but maybe it wasn't saving to the cloud before. I'm not quite sure. Technology
that's
is
all
not my
right. That's all right.
forte.
Fine. Thank you. We're in the innocence of the maiden, aren't we?
Yes, exactly.
Well, to me, I will talk a little bit later if there's the time to. I can speak on the mythology in the Arthurian legends and like pre-Christian times and the whole idea of the two-faced goddess. But so there's lots there that I found actually quite late in my maidenhood, thinking, wow, this is the part of the maiden I would want to connect. There's power in it, but there's also beauty, of course, what we know, but it's not just the empty surface beauty we know in our nowadays maiden archetype. Because I didn't grow up with this, in such a tradition, I only know kind of the Christian, you're either the pure maiden, like literal virgin maiden, or the sexy, seductive one, the Eve and the Lilith, or even Mary Magdalene, or whatever. And so I struggled a lot with the maiden archetype growing up. So there was this feeling of I need to be the sweet girl and the good girl. I had that a lot. So don't do anything wrong was a big one. So I'm still wounded with that in some way. So I'm still fearing to do something wrong. So that's heavy on me. And then at the same time, of course, I had a big disease history. So once I became beautiful again, which came quite late, so I was like 16 when I started to, come back into my body, which was before that very layered with lots of medication, and I looked quite tough, strange, very not well. So to me, that discovering then came quite late in my life, and obviously there was then desire to be seen as beautiful and to seduce, but also being the good girl, and this really weird um, contradiction in it. And at the same time, I'm from Germany, and I grew up with my dad being quite rational, and you have to do things right, and my mum is most of the power woman and just do whatever you want to, but I was always too insecure to do that, so I would kind of lean towards doing things right. So I had more the desire to be the wise one, especially after my disease history. I connected a lot. I had lots of older friends. I connected more with my older siblings than I did with school pals. And so again, this overlayering of I want to jump over being the maiden. I just want to be wise and respected and taken seriously and understood. But still, of course, you're discovering your maidenhood. So for me, it's quite a tricky to do that discovery of that. And so the mythology and the Western spirituality that lies underneath Christianity really helped me to get into to maiden. Yeah, so that's my personal story.
I love that. So like you were trying to skip it as a young girl, but when you did discover it, what was it that you wanted to embody? What was it that you wanted to rekindle or reignite?
You said it earlier. I think there's this fearlessness of just doing something. Like I tend to also judge people when they do something, even if, like you said earlier, with intention is everything. I agree, but sometimes you see someone doing something with maybe a good intention but maybe not, and you don't know, and are they just performing? And like this sort of maiden archetype I've been always quite judgmental of. So rediscovering that in me and realizing, you know what, it's okay to do mistakes, and even if you're not doing it fully right, or even if you haven't researched into the topic perfectly, or even if you're performing like hack, like I used to play in theater, like just perform, have fun. Like it's okay to do mistakes, and it's okay to not be perfect. And that aspect of the maiden really helped me at the moment. And I'm now a mother, so I did kind of jump over it in a way, but this, I still try to bring this back into my day to day. How can I actually be fearless, courageous, and do something that I just love doing without feeling guilty or ashamed? That whole past, leave that and bring that back. That's my maiden connection, and that's the side of the archetype I really need in my life. I also really enjoy reading about.
I love that. And it's a real message for all of us women who are in entrepreneurship or in the creative arts or in anything that, you've got to like pour your heart and soul into it. But sometimes you can lose the joy for it because you've got to get it right, or you've got to make money from it, or whatever it is. So it's reigniting that connection to the maiden energy for me too, to remember that, it gets to be fun and it gets to be joyful, and we don't have to take life so seriously and feel the weight of everything on our shoulders. We get to just do it for the sake of like feeling lit up and liberated by it. Beautiful. I love that. And Jenna, tell me, what does the maiden evoke in you, and how do you embody her as you move through life on your day to day?
So I was really I had a wee moment when you were talking, Laura, of I probably am quite the opposite to you. I swam in maiden energy. I was so comfortable in maiden energy and did basically like Peter Pan syndrome. So like with Saoirse and Sydney, we've been pals for like what, 12, 14 years. And everybody had this Peter Pan syndrome of not wanting to grow up. So we'd dress up a lot, have loads of parties, go to festivals, do sunrise swims in the morning. And there just felt like there wasn't a lot of responsibility when I look back. And I worked with kids, so I was always, being creative and fun and laughing with them and dressing up and singing and dancing. And that was where I felt at ease. And it was only the last few years, stepping into even like heart-centered leadership, I just shrunk. Thought, I'm not a leader. Who am I? So it has been a journey these last couple of years of, okay, the maiden's still there, but can I step into this more archetypal energy of the mother energy? What wants to nurture and come through now? So I've been on that journey. But going back to on a daily kind of practical thing, here's my Capricorn. And I want to share this because this is practices that I do come back to. Like what I do is I write down 5 or 10 things. What brings me joy? What is it that lights me up, that raises my vibration? And often what I'll do is, it's like singing, dancing, having a bath for 20 minutes with a book, swimming. I'm like, okay, when was the last time I swam? Months ago. When was the last time I blah, blah, blah? So it's bringing these things in and trying to fit in how can I do more of these in my daily life in the next couple of weeks. So, for example, I've been thinking about this as we've been connecting for the summit, and I want to have a little Aphrodite night to myself. So I'm already planning. Okay, that brings me joy. That's a bigger thing. When can I plan that in? But on a daily practical level, there's little things that I do throughout my day to bring in those little nuggets of joy. So I share this because it's things that I've picked up from other women or other podcasts or books, and I weave it in. So yeah, I want to share a couple of these practical tips for bringing in joy throughout your day. So first one, when you wake up in the morning in your bed, it's like, I'm so warm. I'm so cozy. Oh, my body feels so nice. Like connecting to that. What is the warmth you feel in that moment when you wake up? Just even if it's just for 30 seconds, I'm so grateful for this bed. It's so cozy, it's so warm. And then in the shower, so I will purposely buy myself really lovely shower gel or soaps. Right now it's sea kelp from Scottish Fine Soaps. I really love that. It connects me to the sea. So when I'm in the shower, I take a moment, and I don't know if you guys are like familiar with the programming of water. So I often do a little Reiki to the water, but even just an intentional prayer of thank you for cleansing me, thank you for this water. And I go under it and imagine it's a waterfall. And for those moments in the shower, it's just for me. It's spaciousness. So can you find those little moments of like gratitude at the shower? Thank you for this water, this beautiful soap, and just taking a few deep breaths and smelling the scents of the shower gel or I'm a Taurus. We're coming up to Taurus full moon as well, but I'm Taurus North Node, so I love the little luxuries. But it's really simple daily things. So that little moment of joy in the shower. There's just a couple more I want to weave in. Food. So we eat food, 3 times a day at least. So connecting when I'm chopping the veggies, where does this food come from? Thinking about the little seeds in the soil, the sun, the rain that nourish this food that I'm about to eat. That brings me joy, thinking about the sunshine that I'm about to eat. Also, when I do this practice, I find that I eat healthier because you can't quite do that the same with like a Scotch pie. Do you know what I mean? Like, ooh. So I find that when I connect with my food and slow down, these are things I already do. It's just creating a little spaciousness or ritual around them, that I eat healthier. And then when I'm sitting down with my meal, taking a few breaths, thank you for this food. It's going to nourish me. It's going to, give me energy. And really practical one for busy women out there or whoever, when you're in the car. So when you get in the car, taking just a wee moment of presence. So for me, it's 3 deep breaths, or one of my favorites is see, hear, feel practice. So 3 things I can see, hear, and feel. Present moment, I'm aware, because the car is the one place for me that takes my joy. It's busy. There's people that are a bit angry. So if I'm already in this presence, and then if I pre-plan, what do I want to listen to on this half an hour journey? Something that brings me joy. Is it The Woman Who Rose Rooted book that I'm listening to just now? Is it beautiful music? So pre-planning a little bit, okay, I've got half an hour journey. What brings me joy in that journey? What do I want to listen to? What do I want to fill myself with? Fill my cup up with. And also, I do this little practice of kill them with kindness. So if somebody cuts me off or if somebody toots at me, I'm like, you're so funny. You're so, like laughing at them, because it keeps me in that vibration of like, they're not going to take away my joy. Even though they're raging, I'm not bringing myself down to that. And it pisses them off a little bit more, but it keeps me in my center and my joy. So these little practical things that we do on a daily basis, finding those moments, where can I bring in these, stretch that time a little bit, or just awareness, what brings me joy.
Yeah, I love that. It's really good to bring that awareness. And I'm sitting here going, oh, Jesus, I'm shaming myself now for not taking all of those moments throughout the day where I can connect to my food and thank it. Like I try to be as intentional as possible with, how I move through the world. But as a busy mother, 2 kids, you don't always get to spend that, ritualize everything that you do. So it's about being practical too, I guess. And something that I need to do, I find, is I set joy alarm clocks sometimes in my phone, to go off 3 times a day and to just remind me to celebrate, to get in the vibration of joy. Because when you work and you're an entrepreneur and you're a mother in business, I can find, you can be just constantly thinking about the next thing and you don't celebrate the little wins, which is what makes up the sum total of our lives. And I put a joy alarm clock in and I dance around the living room, and my kids, if they hear it go off, like they know what it is too, and they just get involved even though they don't know why. I'm dancing around the room and having a lovely time for myself. But I love that as just a reminder that joy is available to us in every moment, and that celebration, whether it's, we're having a moment of whether it's going well or not, like just that little reminder to get into the vibration of joy can really help just lift up your spirits and lift up your day. So I love that, how many practical reminders you brought in of how we can actually weave it in to our daily lives.
And it's a practice, it's something that I've grown over time. And I forget sometimes, but it's just those little reminders. Oh, right. When was the last time I wrote a list? When was the last time? It's
oh my gosh, when I think of a list, I don't think of joy, but yeah.
But like for me, right, Capricorn, like lists, yeah. Or just right, you like however you do it and your creativity, but or even just thinking about it. Like say it out loud or sing it out loud. But yeah, that's
whatever.
I think that's so sweet. I'm like, when did I last do a list? I need more Capricorn. I have something here that connects me to my joy. Is it? Wait, sorry, there, just behind. Talking about my friend Freya in Scotland, right? And we have this Scotland. So this is a goat tallow face balm, and it's called the Wild Goddess. It's got blue lotus in it and rose and frankincense, and it's just the best ever smell. Like it's mad. Like, and this is what you said about your soap in the shower, right? So when I did that, when I do this in the morning, this is my rituals are super small as well. Like there's not much time with the kids, but it's just washing my face, and I put this on, and it's just wow, it's beautiful. Yeah, and I feel that beauty, and I'm like, okay, I'm really doing something nice, and I imagine the maid and being all like, oh, and I'll brush my hair, that kind of state. I love that. And I love your joy reminder, Saoirse. When do you have it? Like on a really practical side, like what time of day?
I'll just set it for like 3 times a day. I mean, I haven't actually had it on in a while, so I must put it back on now. But like, at 9 o'clock in the morning, at 2 o'clock in the day, and at 6 o'clock at night, and it just goes off randomly. And I forget that it's even going to happen, but it just gives me an opportunity to get, and just dance around. Like, it is very much performative, but it's like getting into the vibration of it, you know, and no matter what is
Yeah.
happening, it snaps you out of it if you're fucking in the dreads or in the
Yes.
trenches trying to cook the dinner and screaming at the kids, then, like, you know, it definitely shifts that energy. So I just think that's a really, really helpful tip and
The
reminder,
kids must love it as well.
if you're in a,
The
you
kids
know,
must
that
love it.
feeling of it's never enough, or you know, you're never there, you're not there yet. And I think that's the journey of the feminine too, you know. It's like slowing down to the beauty and the sensuality in every day. It's like taking time to wash your face instead of throwing the water on it, or it's like brushing your teeth gently instead of being like blah, 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 which I can tend to do, you
Yeah,
know.
me
It's these
too.
tiny little things that even my daughter reminds me of. Why do you brush your teeth so quickly and hard, ma'am? And I'm like, you're right. I don't know why. Don't ever take that up, you know? Or just drying your face slower, and just, as you say, taking in the senses in the shower. It's just simple, simple little things that we can do to awaken more joy, to awaken our senses, and to just like tap into that feminine essence within. And the maiden who's not so busy holding everything and doing everything, she's just like free to have some time for me, you know, and taking the time as mothers, I guess, taking the time for yourself to experience the things that bring you joy, and not feeling guilty about that, you know, like really, really claiming that time for ourselves. Um, and not like, you know, I just went to the Writers Festival in Ubud there, and my husband had been away for like 2.5 weeks, and you know, he came back on the night before the festival, so I'd kind of written the festival out thinking, oh, it's too hard and I don't want to leave the day after he just gets back. But then I thought, you know what, I've got my whole life with him. This is 2 days out of the whole year that like are really important to me to go. So I took it and I claimed it, and I didn't feel bad about it. And it filled me up with so much, like 24 hours away. And I got so much in. I had so many beautiful connections, so many nourishing conversations. I got to sell my book in the Ubud Festival. I got to get up on stage and speak in my spoken word ceremony. You know, I got to meet so many incredible people. And it was just like, I nearly missed that opportunity. I nearly didn't allow myself the gift of what that is, to just like own your desires and fucking act on them and say, no, this is important to me. I'm not going to be the mother martyr, because I would have just been in regret and resentment then. And I would have been annoyed at my husband, even though he wouldn't have known, or, you know, he was happy for me to go. It was just like me claiming it. So that's a really important lesson and message, I think, too, is just like really tapping in with what do you really want to do, not what you think you should do, but
Mm.
what do you want to do? What is going to bring you joy and peace and nourishment that you need, and then just going for it and not letting yourself be held back by the guilt, or, you know,
Yeah.
the
So true.
doubt.
Yeah.
That's what I meant with that courageous, fearless aspect of the maiden, right? Just that going after what you want instead of thinking about all the risks or the responsibilities, and just, yeah, claiming that. And what you said earlier, maybe that ties back into what we spoke at the beginning of the call, not knowing it was recorded, but performance, right? You said, oh yeah, I mean, the joy alarm is a performance, but what is a ritual if not a performance?
Mm-hmm.
So eventually you do rituals or ceremonies or performances, like the same with acting, right? Like you start performing until you feel it, and then it becomes a really good performance, right? Like the actor that can actually feel the emotions of the character, or the ritualist that really really believes and knows in his true core that the trees speak to him. That's when a ritual is powerful. That's when everyone feels it. But we start with the performance. Like the first time we learn ritual, we haven't yet spoken to the tree, right? Or we haven't yet spoken to the stones. Like we put offerings. We what we see, the Kailia ritual, right? We see the stones being put in. We see rationally what happens. We can understand rationally what it means, and we leave offerings so they, sustain the winter. But over time, when you keep doing it and you actually start believing these acts carry importance, and then it's not only believing it, it's then becoming ingrained in you, and you're convinced almost, and it
Mhm.
becomes a lifestyle. And it's the same with the dancing. I definitely, for myself, I need more of them dance pauses and breaks in my day, like I struggle to connect with that part of the physical joy as well. I think that's something I really need to bring more into my life. So thank you both for highlighting that. But at the same time, like when I put on a song, I feel first, I'm performing, I'm just trying to make it fun. But have I fun? I don't know if I'm having fun. But after a while, of course, you're like, oh, this is really fun, and then you start singing along the song, and then you're back. You're back at the
Yeah, I resonate with that, what you're saying. So for me, one of my greatest joys is dancing. So, and it's finding those spaces. So ecstatic dance, we run one in Glasgow and Edinburgh. But I love also going to other people's because I can just fully let go. But often what I find is like, it's like I have to move through some things in my body first, like, get out your mind because you're thinking, oh, does this feel good? Does this, I feel a bit weird? Am I doing this right? And then when you drop in, it's almost like I call it the crossing over. You're out your mind, you're in your body, and your body takes over, and you're in that maiden energy of, I do not give a flying fuck what anybody thinks. I'm like my 5-year-old self eating too much cake at the party, like just absolutely going for it. And that's really what I bring into ceremonial spaces as well, is bring back that inner child joy. We're not here to get it right. We're here to express and be authentic. And if you want to like scream wildly and like shake your hips and be an animal for an hour in this session, go for it. Also, if your body's telling you to lie down in child's pose for an hour, if that brings you joy in that moment, do it. And I think these spaces that are popping up all over the world now, where we can go and be in, okay, how does my body feel? How do I want to move in this joy? And the ecstatic part comes when you move through that resistance, when you move through that mental part. So I know for me, ecstatic dance has been a huge gift in my life of finding that joy and howling, with other people at the moon, or just being a bit silly because you can, and finding that tribe that lift you up and want to do that as well. So it's finding these events, these spaces, like you're saying, Saoirse, about going to your writers' festival, that fills your cup up, which then ripples out to your family, right? So it's taking those moments for yourself. What brings me joy? And I think it also is coming back to awareness. What brings me joy now in this moment, not 6 months ago or a year? We're constantly evolving, and also with the seasons, different things bring us joy with different seasons. So that's the feminine. It's not it's not linear. It's not the same every day, every week. Checking in. What brings me joy today in this moment? What do I want to do? What will bring me the highest joy right now? And that's something I often do just when I'm about to bleed. It's the shoulds, the needs, the want. Okay, bring it in. What do I want to do? I want to go to bed with a hot chocolate or a cacao and watch a movie. Go for it. It's, and then I'm giving back because I'm filling up my own cup with that joy.
Can we also actually talk about why we would connect to our joy? Because coming from someone that's very mercurial and very in the mind, so you said about your Capricorn and Taurus, Jenna. Mine are Gemini, everywhere. So there's joy in there, but my joy is like in connecting the puzzle pieces. Like when I'm surrounded by my 20 books and I find the core that connects them all, I'm like, boom, fired up. And then I can write about it, sum it up, and then no one has to read 20 books, but they can just read one of my essays and it's there. I love that. That sort of stuff makes me super excited. But it took a while for me to realize, because I found it took me a long time to find my joy, basically. So that's where I have to start, right? So when people would say, what brings you joy? What do you want to be? Like, who do you want to be? Where do you want to be in your life? I'd go blank. I was so numb. Like I had no clue. So there was just, I don't know. And I still followed my joy in some way. Like and I found it and slowly, uncovered it, because life fortunately threw me at the right places and the right times, and I did trust the call. But when you would have asked me like 10 years ago, why do we need to connect with our joy? I don't think I would have had an answer, because I would have found it a bit childish to think about, inner child or inner maiden, because no, you have to be practical and responsible and create something in the life and be all serious about it, basically. And even in spiritual traditions, we know this, when someone starts being on the spiritual journey, and it's all about, I need to do it right and honor the tradition and perfect the ceremony, and only when it's right then I can, and they lose the joy over that as well. So I've definitely been there. I know now how important it is, again, to reconnect the inner child, because something's opened up and I feel it now. But I think there was a time where I just couldn't feel it. So I thought, like, it's never going to come back. I used to be a child, now I'm going to be an adult, So you kind of, you build up that wall. So yeah, how about we speak about this? Like, why is it so important to hold on to your joy? Like, Saoirse, would like you came up with a topic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, for me, I guess the reason why I wanted to speak into this topic is because I found my joy being really, really scuppered lately. And it's just with the weight of the world, with the looming crises everywhere, with the genocides that we are witnessing every single day. We can feel overwhelmed, especially women who are deep feelers and who are, really, really, I guess, just open and like raw. And as a mother, witnessing all of this death of children is absolutely killing me. But there's also a part of me, coming as an Irish woman from ancestral lands that have experienced genocide and famine and oppression and starvation and emigration, that I know that in those times of struggle, that's when some of the best poets or writers or artists or people went to work and came up with the most incredible songs and things as antidotes to these times. So for me, it was like holding on to your joy is so important, holding on to your creativity, to use your creativity to transmute what you are experiencing and your emotions, and expressing them in a way that can contribute to elevating joy and bringing joy back. And even at that Ubud Writers Festival last week, there was a Palestinian guy who was speaking about how even in Palestine now, people are still getting married, people are still living their life, and that's how they have, lived through so much over the past 75 years. Is like their resistance is joy. Their resistance to people trying to kill them is to live even more, And I love that about their resilience and their deep fucking, I guess, their deep desire to live, despite. And that's it. We get to, as well, as a woman who feels like activated and very much deep in grief with what I'm witnessing, and sometimes helpless and hopeless, is to know that my joy and my creativity and my is contributing in a way to elevating the consciousness of humanity, and to ensuring that I can be with the polarity of life. Like, I can be with the grief and with the devastation, but I can also enjoy the beautiful privileges and like incredible things that I get to experience on my day to day. Like, I can't die because I'm watching other people die. You know what I mean? And it's like a bittersweet thing that I've been really experiencing lately, to allow myself to be with the joy of my day and not feel guilty or shameful about it. And I know that it's kind of, I'd love to hear how that kind of feels to you, as women who I know are deeply feeling too.
No, totally. You even like what I hear is the grail question in that as well. So when we think about who the grail question, one of them being, whom does the grail serve? And I think you can put that question anywhere. So when I'm worrying or not in my joy and all serious about life, whom does this serve? Right?
Mhm.
And who does it serve if I'm in my joy? And I think that's in there as well. Like when we think, who does it actually serve that when I'm unhappy? Maybe my I don't know, maybe parts of my family or society or my teacher or whatever, who then feels like I'm being on task if you're in that environment. But does it serve your family, your kids? Does it serve your partner? No, not really. Like, the only thing it serves is the mind, isn't it? That someone sees, oh yeah, she feels guilty, all right, she's sad, that's good. then
She's a good
that's the
person.
right way to do again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, but who benefits from our joy?
So many more people do.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a very good point that you have, Saoirse. Thank you so much for bringing this in. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think
We
it's
can't shame ourselves into love and enjoying life.
no. And there's, it is important to be with the polarity, as you said, be in the grief and feel it. And something I experienced is when I started doing some womb healing work, there was a lot of pain. There was a lot of grief and things coming out, which, to be cleared, but then also realizing and being aware that you can also heal through pleasure, right? And how much better that feels in my body. Or when I'm thinking about, the suppression of my ancestors and their voices and their conditioning of their ways of being. When I dance, I'm dancing for them, and I'm shaking. It's almost like alchemy. Okay, right, we're here with this suppression. Who's it serving? If I'm sitting in that and I'm in freeze mode, can I alchemize it? Can I use the beautiful tools that I've been found or been given or been shared with me to alchemize it, to move it out? Because when I'm in my joy, my dance, and I am, you know doing the work of shifting these heavy emotions, but at the end of it, I feel lighter, I feel more present with the sensuality of life, and this for me ripples out to my family, to my friends. And sure, then when I'm in the kind of depths of it, when someone else is in their joy, it's coming together and they can help me alchemize it and bring it back up again, and not getting stuck down here. Because often, you know, my mind and things, I can get stuck in here, and it is remembering we can shift things with joy also. And something to touch on about when we're working with our ancestors that I wanted to share as well is connecting to them through joy. So when you're calling them in, and I heard this from an elder, a British elder, Annie Spencer, be really specific about who you're calling in from your ancestors. You know, bring in the love, the pleasure. I'm sure they were absolutely hilarious and they had a great time and they were brilliant storytellers. So connect to that also, not just like, right, we're doing this deep work to clear all this ancestral shite. Also like, I want to feel their joy. I want to hear their or feel their songs. So it's both, isn't it? And just being curious about it. What does it feel like if I do it this way? What does it feel like if I do it with joy? And just be a curious explorer of your inner realms and know what feels good for you. Um, but that's something I think that's um, working with women in spaces. We go through journeys of feeling deep things, but movement, breath, sound, movement, touch can alchemize and bring us back to that place where we can then go out and create whatever we want from where we're at. Um,
And
yes,
environment as well. Surround yourself with people that want you in your joy. I think it's so
yes,
important. Or
yes,
want you, or be okay with you messing up and being silly.
yeah,
I think that bit is so important, especially in the maidenhood, like the early 20s, when you still have the friends from school and you're not quite, and you might have, sometimes and we in every phase really we outgrow friends, don't we? Like sometimes it's just natural progression and we have different interests and we follow them, and we can feel that fear of not wanting to upset anyone. And again, that wounded maiden, isn't it? Like, oh, I don't want to upset them, don't want to leave them. But acknowledging also who is really around me, who brings up the joy, who's happy for me when I am succeeding or when I'm in my joy, who's forgiving me when I'm messing up, and who's with me and silly together, and
yes.
allowing, then also stepping away from people that hold us in that more, let's say, guilt or shame or heaviness.
Yeah, you
Mm.
can feel
And
it.
I think
And
when you touch on the ancestors, and there is a practice we do in the Rebel Mad journey where we connect to our ancestors and we write them a story and we call on them to walk with us,
mm,
because as you say, it's not all just about the trauma and the pain and the suffering, but we can feel loyal to that struggle on a cellular level. We can be loyal to the struggle that they suffered, and we can feel again guilty about living a life of so much pleasure and joy and ease and abundance when they suffered so much. And I found on my journey of expansion, of stepping up into a desire-led life, that I felt bound to be addicted to the struggle kind of, and
mm,
loyal to that struggle. And it was when I met them in a breathwork journey where I felt like I could connect to them and I could say, you know what, I am living a life that you couldn't have even probably dreamed of back then, that we have opportunities open to us that they would never have imagined in a million years. And that we do have an ability to live a life led by our desires, to tap into what it is we truly want, to go to wherever we want, to not be forced onto coffin ships and emigrate and never speak to our family again. We get to go and move to countries and live in this beautiful way and still stay connected to our families and things like that. So I found that when I kind of opened up that communication with my ancestry and said, walk with me, don't bound me to these limitations that you lived in, but like allow me to keep moving forward with these opportunities that you could have only have dreamed of, and celebrate with me, and continue to guide me in this way, but also not allow myself to feel guilty for eating the apple and having all of these pleasures in life. You know what I mean? So it's that was an interesting one for me that I tend to, go to and bring my women with me on the journey of just allowing our ancestors to walk with us and giving them permission to, allow us to move forward with the opportunities that we have in a new way and stay rooted in our lineage and in the wisdom stories of our traditions, but also to, be open to the possibilities. And I'm sure they would only be delighted for us to be able to experience what we can on the daily, for, opportunities that they never could have had before. Because that's all we would wish for our future grandchildren, isn't it?
absolutely. Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. And when you were chatting there as well, I was trying to tune in with this. How do we work with this maiden energy and bring it in? Because it is a lot about lightness and joy. Um, and some really nice practices is if you put on music, what kind of music does your maiden want to listen to today? So that brings joy. And it might be something from your past. I don't know, Karina, rhythm of the night, right? And
Oh, I
just
love that.
ask your body, right? Maiden, you can do archetypal. I love doing this as well, archetypal dance journeys. How does the maiden want to dance right now, where she doesn't care about making mistakes? She just is um bringing that joy. And also something that's quite interesting to do, insightful, is talking about creativity, is ask, what does your maiden want to draw?
Mm.
And noticing what comes out. So the other day I did this practice, what does my child want to draw? And it was so detailed, and my adult was messy. So just getting curious and exploring, what does my maiden want to draw, without expectation. There's no, it's open, be curious. And I think that's something about that maiden energy, is get curious. And what brings you joy might not bring someone else, doesn't mean it's any less value. And honoring that in yourself. We've chatted about what brings us joy, and there's definitely a theme or different things. So yeah, just sharing that with anybody listening. Be true to you. What brings you joy? And if you don't know, just get curious. Just go start trying different things. Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. Just try, taste, sample. Be with a friend that's in maiden energy or lights you up. Just sharing that.
Beautiful. Have you got any last tips or tricks, Laura, on how to connect to that maiden joyful spirit and rebellious energy that? Especially
Yeah.
actually in terms of mythology and connecting to um, the, I guess, the ancient archetypes. I know that's your jam. So maybe you could leave us on some ancient wisdom with the archetypes.
Yeah, I think, when I think about my topic with the maiden and the facet of being, fearless and going after what you want, a great tip out of the mythology, I'd say, is coming from Pleiadiath, the flowered face maiden. She got created for a man, yeah, for Lou, or for clay. It was Welsh clay, sorry. Irish panda would be Lou, but anyway, sorry, going on a tangent there. But so she was created for a man, basically. Essentially, that's it. She was created out of flowers and plants, and it's also beautiful, whatever. And she's happy, it's like, yeah, cool, I've got this awesome, awesome guy there, super big hero, basically invincible. All good, all good. And then this other hero comes in, strong warrior man, and she falls in love, and she actually realizes, oh my gosh, this is what I can feel. This is my capacity. So she becomes her own through that. Yeah. Well, she plots with this new guy. He loves her too, and they really want to be together. And they plot to murder Clay. And obviously, it's not really the fine way to go. But these mythologies, they speak in symbols. And what happens? He is invincible, so he can't be killed in the end. And she gets punished and transforms into an owl. And what this speaks is might be quite crucial, quite cruel when we think of it, and when we only look at the surface, you'd think, oh yeah, better not follow your heart then, and don't follow your joy because you could be transformed. But what it actually says is, follow your heart and live with the consequences, because they are actually going to transform you into the person or version of you that you're supposed to be. So she's only been created as this perfect flowery maiden, but really in her was the wise one, the owl. Yes, that's like the one that sees through the night, sees through the dark, the mystery, the prophecy that is in the owl. And she's both then, not only so realizing that we will never stay in the maiden completely, and that's the importance of life, but we can keep that maiden by following our heart. I think that's the big thing. And even if we don't yet know what our joy is, like there are moments where we're feeling called out of our life as is, and following the little crumbs along the way, and being courageous, that even if it brings like breakups or losses or failure, we might lose a job or whatever, or we might just take the wrong decision, but that these are never wrong decisions. The consequences we might not like, but the decision was still right and will eventually bring us to our fulfillment of our joy.
Yes, yes, yes. And that is how we are the alchemists of our lives and the authors of our own stories. And it's the beautiful message of transforming our wounds into our wisdom, using our pain as our purpose, finding our joy, in and the gifts in our grief, and in all of the things that, have that we have overcome to become the women we are today, to be able to stand here and share from a space of wisdom, from a space of offering up, our medicine and transforming, as we say, our wounds into our wisdom, to share that with others. And that's how we become from the maid into the wise woman. And yes, you are all very wise women here. So thank you very much for joining me today and for sharing those beautiful nuggets of joy for people to be able to step into their own maiden energy and to be able to live fearlessly and courageously, and to, I guess, spark that flame of creativity and transmute their grief into gifts to offer up to others. So thank you, girls. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Rise of the Rebel Matriarch Summit Day 1. And for everybody watching, you can find these beautiful ladies. Where can we find you, Laura?
You can find me at Mythopoetic Alchemy on Instagram, or Substack, Sovereign with Laura Durban.
Beautiful.
Or Crown Enchantment. That's it. Yeah.
And you can find me on Insta, Jenna de Vida, or in Espanol, Jenna de Vida, it's full of life. Yeah, I hang out there.
Beautiful. All right, we'll go and connect with these beautiful light beings and let them let them spread their joy and their magic on you. And thank you, girls. Really appreciate you taking the time today to share with our people, and we shall speak again soon.
Bye. Love. Thank you.